We've got some pretty massive breaking news to take a look at as the New York Rangers have made a pretty major trade with the Carolina Hurricanes, which of course is sending over K'Andre Miller in a sign-and-trade deal to the Carolina Hurricanes, but this is an absolute fleecing for the New York Rangers. They come out on top on paper for sure. As of right now, this is an absolute just incredible trade by the Rangers, and I am really thrilled with what Chris Drury was able to do today on July 1st. He went out there to start things off and got the top defenseman and arguably the top player in general, Vladislav Gavrikov, signed to a, honestly, kind of team-friendly deal there. A 7x7 deal for Gavrikov, a top pairing caliber defenseman. I don't think is bad at all. He also then went out there and we started to kind of hear the rumors about this possible kind of K'Andre Miller sign and trade. Of course, didn't quite happen then. Time goes on there. We see a Will Cuylle signing there. Of course, he signs back with the Rangers. I'll have a video coming out tomorrow on that, tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So the Rangers bring him back on a 2-year deal, and then not too long after that comes out, we do get the news about this monster trade here, which is a pretty big one, seeing the Rangers get back an absolutely incredible haul. And I've been saying this for months now. K'Andre Miller had decent trade value. I didn't think it was this good, but he had some good trade value. This is someone who's 6'5", who skates absolutely incredibly for someone of that size there. He's got the talent. It's just about kind of putting it all together and being more of a consistent player. And the Carolina Hurricanes clearly think they can fix him, as they ended up signing him to an 8-year deal worth $7.5 million. And actually, the Rangers did technically sign him to that deal and then shipped him off, but the Carolina Hurricanes are getting K'Andre Miller with a $7.5 million cap hit for the next 8 seasons. To me, that is a little sketchy there, a little risky for sure on their side of things there, but that's not our problem. Our good side of thing there of this deal, though, is getting back a 2026 top 10 protected first round pick, which will become the better of these two teams' picks there, the Carolina Hurricanes and the Dallas Stars. The Canes got the Dallas Stars, of course, first round pick in 2026 because of that massive Mikko Rantanen trade we saw mid-season there, before the trade deadline. So the Rangers are getting whichever pick ends up becoming better, as long as, it doesn't fall in the top 10 there. The Rangers will get a first-round pick in next year's draft. They're also getting a 2026 Carolina Hurricanes second-round pick, just to kind of top things off there with another kind of nice value piece there, of course. And that's not it. If that was it there and it was a first and second-round pick, that alone, to me, is more than kind of what I thought we were going to get back for K'Andre. But to top it off, they end up getting a very good prospect defenseman who can help this team right now in the NHL. He played a lot, well, not a lot, but a decent amount of games there for the Carolina Hurricanes in the regular season, and then also got a bit of a taste, a bit of sample size during the playoffs as well. So he is clearly somewhat trusted by the Hurricanes there, has a little bit of NHL experience, is still only 22 years old, turning 23 in November, and that's Scott Morrow, the 6'2", 210-pound right-handed defenseman, and I think this guy could definitely play a pretty big role for the Rangers in this upcoming season. Like I said, didn't have a massive sample size with the Carolina Hurricanes, this past season at the NHL level, had 14 games played, but did have 6 total points there, all of them coming at even strength there, 1 goal, 5 assists, not bad at all, averaging 15 minutes and 48 seconds per night. Also had 16 block shots and 3 hits. So not terrible numbers there. In the playoffs this past season, had 5 games played, -5, averaging 10 minutes and about 30 seconds per night. So nothing insane there. 2 block shots, 1 hit. So didn't have a massive kind of, role of the team in the playoffs there, but still had a bit of a taste there. 5 games played, not bad for a young kind of 22-year-old, of course. And I think going forward, this is someone who definitely, like I said, could have a pretty big role on this team for this upcoming season. And the reason why I say that is because if they do what I'm kind of hoping they'll do, and that is, of course, moving Braden Schneider over from the right side to the left side, which he has done in the past during his junior days, but also did so last season there for a bit with the team, of course, making that switch over for a little bit there. And I think that might be what's best for this team going forward. And right now, assuming they don't trade away Carson Soucy, instead of having him or Urho Vaakanainen in that top 4, which I don't think, a playoff caliber team really should at this point, I think having a kind of defense core looking like this, Gavrikov and Foxy on your top pair there. On the second pair, you now have Braden Schneider, who moved over on the right side, now to the left, and he'll go alongside Will Borgen, who will play on the right side on that second pair alongside him. And then for the third pair, you could do something like Carson Soucy alongside Scott Morrow. And I know Soucy didn't have the best season overall with the Rangers once he got traded from the Vancouver Canucks. But I think heading into next season there, after a full offseason with this team there, under a new coaching staff, a new system, new assistants, all that kind of stuff there, I'd imagine he'll be quite a bit better than what he was with the Rangers. So I have some faith in him being much better. And, I do think having a guy like Scott Morrow possibly jump into the lineup for this team, having a nice young guy there, getting some real kind of minutes might not be a bad idea at all, because you're also, helping try and find a kind of future piece as well, because Scott's definitely a pretty kind of highly rated prospect there, has been for some time now, obviously kind of stuck behind a lot of good defensemen in the Carolina Hurricanes system and in the NHL level, but I think for this Rangers team, might just be the perfect guy to kind of slot in there on that third pair, get some experience, and, be hopefully a solid kind of two-way defenseman. That definitely seems like what he could possibly be for this team. I mean, obviously already put up some pretty solid numbers offensively, but I think he can probably hold his own defensively as well, I'm sure. And going forward, having a nice kind of young 6'2" right-handed shot defenseman to go on that kind of third pair possibly is not the worst thing at all, especially with him, still being on his entry level contract. He's still quite cheap, so that definitely helped things out a lot. And, I do think switching a guy like Schneider over to the left side there right now with the way things stand with this team right this second, I think is probably what's best, because, I don't want a guy like Urho Vakanainen or Soucy in that top four, and this team, cap-wise right now, just does not have the space to go out there and add in a real top four caliber defenseman, for the most part, even via a trade, because most guys, even if you're trading for them, even most young guys there who are at that level, who, even if they somehow became available, might even still be at that price there, be too pricey for it, even if they're still, just signed their kind of second deal as an RFA. So, for the most part, there's no way they're going to be able to add in a true, top four caliber guy, but switching someone like Schneider from the right side over to the left side there and making a pair of Schneider-Borgen, top pair being Gavrikov-Fox, and the third pair being, a combination of Soucy/Urho alongside Morrow, definitely could be a pretty intriguing kind of defense kind of core. So I think overall, adding in a guy like Morrow is pretty incredible, but getting back a first and second round pick in a what's expected to be a pretty good draft as well. I mean, it's not going to be like we're getting a obviously elite level prospect with this first round pick if we do keep it, and of course we very well might not. It's definitely possible this team could look to trade away both these picks possibly, but I think Morrow is definitely here to stay. He should be a part of this team going forward into this upcoming season and beyond, hopefully into the future as well. But overall, I'm just thrilled with this trade there. It is an absolute fleecing and an absolute kind of heist here by the Rangers. Getting a first, second, and a really good prospect that can help you right now at the NHL level, I think is absolutely incredible. And it's also a big position of need. Getting a right-handed defenseman was a must. I was looking at some guys, in free agency, like maybe a Schmidt there, obviously Nate Schmidt, who could have been a decent add for this team. He ends up definitely being out of the price range for the Rangers there, so there weren't a lot of great options for that kind of spot there, but adding in a guy, Scott Morrow, definitely could be a great cheap option for this team. And also, he's a high upside one as well, because he still is only 22, turning 23 in November. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you have enjoyed, definitely don't forget to click that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content, as I do post every single day. And I'll have a video up tomorrow, like I said, talking about at 10 a.m. Eastern time, the Will Cuylle kind of, or not extension, but signing there, of course. And also, I already have a video up on this channel about the Gavrikov signing up. So if you want some information on that, definitely go check it out. But comment down below your thoughts on this amazing trade, because I truly do think it is an absolute fleece by the Rangers. Let me know your thoughts on this deal, the first round pick, second round pick, and also getting back Scott Morrow, a very promising, decent-looking prospect, as well as picking up a guy like Gavrikov to kind of replace and upgrade the spot of K'Andre Miller. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next one, and let's go Rangers.